Hi, this is Deanna Kosaraju, founder of Global Tech Women. I'd like to welcome you to Voices 2.0 2014. It's my pleasure to introduce Ruby to you. Ruby is doing a presentation on orchestrating web print platform releases for success. I'm going to go ahead and go offline now, but I will launch her presentation so that you can take a look at it while she is presenting. When I put her presentation up, you can drag and drop it anywhere on the screen you wish so that you can watch Ruby while you're looking at her presentation. So with that, I'm turning it over to you.
Thanks, Deanna. Hello, everyone. This is Ruby from Bangalore joining you. Happy Women's Day. I hope you all are doing fine. And I'm just a bit to just a little bit of introduction. I have about more than 16 years of industry experience in domains like telecommunication, defense, consumer, and the automobile industry. I'm working with HP as a project and program manager, currently in the web print platform team. And today's presentation will also be about my experiences as a release manager in the web print platform. So we also call this the ePrint platform. And so this is all about cloud connected printers. Whenever you fire a print to the printer, it'll print the content received as an email. And you can also have scheduled jobs fired to the printer, which means like every morning 7 a.m. you can have a print from your favorite news channel, or you can print cartoon stuff for coloring pages, etc., for your children at maybe scheduled times like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So this platform caters to over 33 million registered printers, and out of which 12 million are active at any given time. So to speak of the scale of the system, it works with more than 100 HP printer models, and 10 different document types are supported. And the peak load is about 9 kilo jobs at any given um, per hour. And also 8 million pages are printed per month from the system. So as you can see in the diagram, the top left area describes this, what I just told. There are these devices connecting to the cloud, which we say the web print platform is the center. And then the different types of printers are connected to it. So we have different services like the HP connected portal is one, the scheduled delivery jobs is the other one. So it's all a collection of cloud services we're talking about, and the web print platform caters to all of them. So release management, I mean, is a well practiced philosophy, especially in the agile world. We deliver things in the Scrum way, and then we have a release management office which takes it to production. So as you can see in the just below the figure of the platform in the slide set, we have an organization called the product owner organization, which is the traditional product owner job in Agile, which is collecting requirements, grooming them, and scheduling them for the sprint. So that's the role of the product organization. Here they talk to various stakeholders across the platform, which is the software services, which you can see, which is the firmware partners, which is the partners which give us the mobile services. So they collect requirements from all these partners, schedule them for the sprints. The Scrum teams or the development teams take these requirements, they develop their solutions, and then they unit test their solutions. Once the stories are developed and accepted, they board the so-called release train. And when the release train is ready, getting the manifest ready for the release train and taking the train to production is the role of the release manager in this environment. Now, uh, the Scrum team test only unit, I mean, they test only component wise of uh, their user stories. They don't do an end-to-end integration. So that's possible when a train is loaded. Gets the train departs, so to say, it boards a test stack, release QA tests on the test stack, and then various stacks which mirror production. And when it is production ready, we give it to the DevOps team to deploy it on production. So this has been the traditional model of release management that we were following. Now, it's a world of a lot of interconnected components, a lot of dependencies, some within our control, some within not. And processes are defined, but then people take their way, and many times process gates were liberally violated. And there was a lot of email traffic generated in the process, and things were the release train could reach its destination on time with the required quality just because of the release management efforts. So a heroic release manager used to come and figure out things and slog his way out and deploy releases. So then we just tried to firstly simplify the process, call out the release gates, and get on some key performance indicators and start measuring them, start populating them. So it started with, I'll first begin with how we implemented the key performance indicators. So you can't improve a thing if you don't measure it. So with this paradigm in mind, we started asking ourselves what are the things that we want, what are the things that are important for this release, say quality parameters, defects found on the train, then defects found on the train, but they need resolution within the train. So the train is interrupted, you get a bunch of code or database entries added to the train, and then the train is started all over again. That's kind of called a train defect resolution or TDR. So how many TDRs were there per release train? Then how much was the scheduled slippage for this release train? Then how much, how many builds were required? In an ideal situation, you give one release build, and that should be carried as the train moves forward. You won't have additions or deletions from the build. So the number of builds required. Often there were code merge issues. People didn't merge the complete thing. So that was another metric which we followed. And then finally, downtime. How much downtime was required to board this release to production? So these KPIs were identified, baselined, measured, and shown that this is how your releases are going. It's not a metric for the release manager, it's a metric for the organization. So as you can see, the below graphs in the slide, they point to a few of those metrics which I just spoke about. So then release accountability was enforced. So if you see just above the metrics on the right hand side, there's a diagram which called out each function and his role at that particular phase of the release, and how these phases like a handover or a checklist or a sign off is integrated with the release plan. The release plan is just shown over the accountability in the slide deck. So people were made aware that this is a duty of their function and they are accountable to achieve this step to having a successful release. And all this was there were posters made out of this. There was release calendar, a unified release calendar was published in which each function had his milestone written. So if you are in the dev, you would know that these activities are your activities for a release, so you would plan ahead for those. If you are a product owner, then you know what you got to do in the tools. For example, marking user stories for a release, or making making release manifest, or giving the release manager the important communication aspects, that because this release has a fix for, say, the scheduled delivery apps, so the scheduled delivery organization has to be a part of this release, and they've got to be hand in hand in our testing on the test stacks. So such things were called out both in the release plan and in the accountability, which made people aware that this is a function of theirs, and they owned this accountability. If you can go to the next slide, then there's a release process map which was created, a detailed diagram which has swim lanes, horizontal swim lanes for each of the functions which are involved in making a release, the handouts, the process gates, and the handshakes and the checklists are clearly shown so as to refresh people that this is their, again, this is their area of control, this is their expertise, they are accountable for achieving it. So this was huge printouts were taken out of this and pasted in convenient locations for people to refresh themselves. They were trained in the process. And this made life a bit easier for the release manager, as the functions, when they got together, they knew what they're supposed to do. And also, there was a lot of release branding effort which took place just so as to make people aware of certain things going on. And on softballs, in IELTS, in emails, all this information was ready, visible to them. There was an updated wiki page wherein anyone who wants to know the status of the wiki of the release could go and check. If even if their partners outside the geography, they used to check the status on the release wiki, and which used to be live with the metrics and with the status of the trend. So it the ecosystem was very aware that these are the things happening. So as a result of this, these steps which I just mentioned, there was a, a faster time to market for our releases. And whenever we add new features, so there was a zero downtime was also achieved as a result of this, because we started doing service-based deploys rather than a whole big bang release. So we decoupled the release into small increments, and service-wise, we could take them to production. So now we are working on a plan in which each service owner is enabled to take his service from the test stacks to at least a stack product mirroring production, if not production yet. So that's all the service-based deploys, and we are working together on that. But currently, we do have a release function, which functions just the way I told you. So we eventually reached zero downtime releases, and the quality of the releases came up, as you can see in the previous slide, when I say that the defect count came down per release. The train defect resolution also came down per release. We made releases on schedule, so there was no schedule slippage. And we had a reporting system which was live on the wiki and on the notice boards, etc. Then we had a very intensive release retro. So anyone who had a retro point would just email me that these were the things he noticed in his Scrum or whatever. These are opportunities for improvement, or these are things doing well, which we should establish as a best practice. So release retros were done religiously, and we also followed through the previous release retros, that these were the actions and these are the this is the actions basis the comments that we'd received. So release retro was strengthened, it was regularized, and results published. I also use the release retro platform to recognize engineers who had gone above and beyond in the release. And their names were displayed on the notice board, certificates were handed out, so it led to a good amount of engagement from those engineers as well. So uh, this is this is basically it. This is what I wanted to share in brief about the release management work. Over to you, Diana, and if there are any questions.
everyone. Boy, that was very interesting. And what an amazing process. And I love how they use the analogies of the swim lanes to show the processes going. It's fascinating. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, you explained it so well, everyone is speechless, Ruby. Thanks so much for a really great presentation, and forward this link to your friends who might be interested in what Ruby is doing and connect in your space. And I thank you for a really great presentation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, take care, everybody. We'll see you at the next session.
Bye.
Bye.